As Dismus, you come in and let's evaluate what the opposition is doing about it. Because others might argue that the planned Kamkunji meeting is perhaps a little bit too late, that we should have seen a robust opposition on the floor of the House defending Kenyans against what they term as punitive taxation. So what do you make of the political move that is coming this Tuesday, especially by the Azimio coalition?
Before I discuss the Kamkunji, Ishmaeli has assaulted two important points. The first one, that there was no public participation in the budget preparation process. It takes 1 full year, the National Treasury and all the state departments to prepare the budget. The tail end is when members of the public are invited to go before the Finance Committee and present their proposals. And I think for this budget session, the members were given about 2 weeks. I saw people going there with truckloads of information and presenting their position. Maybe the question we should be asking is that the information presented to that committee, was it quality or it was just quantity? That Mora was given the opportunity, she was given the opportunity to present. Everybody, all and sundry were invited. Number two, the purpose of an election is for a political party that wins. They present a manifesto, and the moment they win, then the citizens have given them powers to implement their manifesto. So the guiding principle here is the manifesto. And if you've got the numbers like Kenya Kwanza does, you implement your manifesto, you translate it into the budget. And I'd like to take a departure from what I said, that when you're in the minority or opposition, that the only thing you're supposed to do is to oppose. You even oppose a good idea by driving a lot of propaganda. Like, for instance, when you talk about housing, Kenya suffers from housing insecurity. And one of the principles in housing insecurity is housing instability. At the end of every month, people who live in the urban areas, they'll be scratching their heads on how they're going to pay their rents or their mortgages. That is housing instability. Then you can look at the quality of houses. If you go to some parts in Kenya, those houses, you have to turn on the lights, whether it's day or night. Because of the quality of the houses, there is no window, there is no ventilation, and people get diseases. And there is evidence to confirm that in the majority of the urban areas, those houses, where there is no natural light, people get a lot of conditions. So there's evidence to that. But now there was propaganda that housing in Kenya is not a priority. Never mind that about 2 years ago, Mr. Raila Odinga said that this housing levy is a very good thing which must be implemented. Now let's go to Kamkunji. If really Azimio was very keen to have an impact on the budget making process, then they would have applied pressure before tomorrow, because I suspect the president will sign it into law tomorrow. So they would have applied pressure maybe 3 weeks back. But now what have they done? The train has left the station, the horse has bolted, is when they're coming back to say that we want to apply pressure on the government. After the fact, I know they've got the Latin language, but you know now they're coming after the fact, the train has left the station. Now that is still part of propaganda, misleading Kenyans into believing that if you go to the streets, you can actually reverse the finance bill. One would have expected for them to come up with concrete proposals. When you're talking about addressing housing insecurity in Kenya, they say Kenya Kwanza wants to introduce a housing levy or housing fund at maybe 3% or 1.5%. This one doesn't make sense. Look at our proposal. I suspect, in as much as Azimio doesn't have sufficient numbers, but they have got the intellectual capacity, intellectual infrastructure to present ideas. And as Omolo Kijana once said, that if you present a good idea, then people will accept, people will buy. Because in any event, Kenya belongs to everybody. Kenya is not limited to Kenya Kwanza or Azimio. So if anybody thinks that the proposals are set forward by Kenya Kwanza are not solid, then you must present another set of ideas. You don't just go to the top of Mount Kenya or Kilimanjaro and then you start saying, Kwamba, iyo ni bure, that one doesn't work. No, you have to give us, I mean, you are not elected by Mora just to criticize. You are not elected by Mora to describe the problem. Mora gave you powers to describe the problem and offer a solution. If you don't have a solution, then there's no need for you even to be in the National Assembly.
May I just add that this stringent opposition to the finance bill is just centered on two issues. And yet there are lots of other clauses in the finance bill that are good. So why should it be strenuously opposed